Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Shafaq Hassan, speech language therapist. How are you all doing? Last I spoke to you, I believe it was Eid. I hope you guys know that I'm online and I'm doing this live stream. This is especially today's session. I've planned out this talk for those who are querying, concerned, have asked me to help raise awareness about stuttering and stammering. All right. So today I've just been thinking about all the factors which affect stuttering, and I've been thinking about all the parents who've contacted me and asked me, okay, can you tell me about stuttering? Can you shed some light about how we can best approach stuttering and stammering and kids? So for this talk, I just want to basically highlight the fact that you have two groups of people, which are children and which are adults. Okay, and stammering and stuttering basically presents itself in children in different forms and in adults. And in children, when we have a parent who comes to us saying that I'm really concerned my child has started stammering, depending on the age of the child, we have to take in a lot of factors into consideration. For example, for younger children, we have to be aware that how long does a stammer or a stutter last, right? It's basically a disfluency in speech, right? You and I speak, those who stutter or stammer or know someone who stutters and stammers are aware that the fluency of speech is disrupted. So it's disfluent speech. It is a speech disorder. Unfortunately, there's no magic wand. We can't just fix it. But what we as speech therapists can do is that we can offer strategies of management on how best to help a child, how best to help an adult go through their lives. If and when stuttering occurs, and if it is a long-lasting problem, then how best we can manage them. Speaking to parents, speaking to fellow colleagues, I just wanted to highlight a few aspects of stuttering, stammering, and for example, let's approach stammering, stuttering in young kids first. Yeah. When a recent client of mine, for example, came to me, okay, she was very concerned that her child is stammering or stuttering. And the assessment, basically, what we look at is we look at family history, we look at the onset of the stammer or stutter, and when and how it started. Lots of factors can affect disfluent speech. There's no set reason for why a stammer suddenly starts happening, why a child has disfluent speech. But most kids में ये होता है कि when a child does starts stammering, they grow out of it. Not grow out of it, but basically it lasts for 6 months, and after 6 months or so, perhaps in some cases 6 months, and then they're okay. But for children and who find that their stammer is persistent, how do you deal with it in kids? First thing I would say is that don't point it out to the child. Don't make them really self-aware of the fact that their speech is not fluent. Okay, don't point it out to them. Get down to their eye level. Communicate with them. Let them know that you are listening to them. Let them finish what they're saying. Don't finish the word or the sentence for them. Okay. Give them the space. Let them know. Often stammering is associated with some form of anxiety, in the sense that if a child, the child I'm referring to, the parent who came to see me, the child had normal fluent speech, but at a moment of anxiety, her speech suddenly broke down. Right, in the sense that the typical aspect of stammering is either you have a block in a word. You're trying to get a word out and there's a block, or there's a prolongation, or there's a repetition of the word. Like you and I will normally speak and we're saying, we have we have words which we insert in our sentence, in our speech, which is normal, which is not a stammer or a stutter. But when kids do it, or when adults are dealing with disfluency, you will either hear a block and they have a really hard time getting a word out. For example, can I have a cookie, please? They will say, can I please have a cookie, right? Prolongations. If you're trying to say the word cookie, how would that be prolonged? You will say, can I have that, please? Can I have a cookie? Okay? And if you have a repetition, you're repeating part of the word. So you're saying, instead of you saying cookie, you're going to say cookie, right? There are three, I'm just basically demonstrating how a stammer may sound if a child or if someone is speaking or attempting to speak. So, and the thing is, with stammering, it's complicated. It's not just telling a child or, making a child self-aware that, oh my God, you're speaking incorrectly, snap out of it. There's no snapping out of it. You have to have patience and dealing with the child, and you have to be aware of when was the onset. That's what we're concerned about. When is the onset? Why is the child stammering? What is the time? What part of the day are they stammering? Is there family history? What makes them precious from the environment? What are we expecting from them? Do they have the airtime in the family? How many siblings do they have? Do the parents give the child enough time to talk? And for people who are concerned, we find that what the parents do is they put pressure. They have expectations from the child. And maybe possibly if the child has other issues, other language or cognitive developmental issues, and you're putting pressure on the child's brain to basically articulate something, say something, and they're trying to put the words together, they're trying to get it out, they're trying to have the rhythm of speech going smoothly. It's a lot of pressure on the mind, on the brain, right? And for some children, it might be harder. For other children, it might not be. It does not mean that the child is not intelligent, okay? It does not mean that the child is not clever. It does not mean that the child is stupid. It just means you need to be patient, give them the support. You need to have good management strategies. So for children, I would say that if you are concerned, yes, you do need to see a speech therapist. On most occasions, it so happens that the child will... there will be a period of disfluency and the child will then be okay. But in the case when it doesn't happen, when that is not the case, you do need to follow certain management strategies, right? You do need to allow the child the time to speak. You do need to encourage them to talk without feeling conscious of themselves, and no stress about making them, forcing them to take. Parents have don't ask them questions rapidly and expect answers from them, and try and avoid putting pressures on them from externally, from you, from school, from teachers, from parents, from siblings. Give them the space, give them the time to talk. The other thing is that I wanted to tell you about is adults who stammer, right? Lots of adults, lots of children basically go through their academic career, that they go through their school life trying to deal with a stammer. Often there are lots of, you basically see the stammer, right? You see a person stammering. You don't know what's going on behind the screen. You don't know how they're feeling. You don't know that they're nervous about talking, they're anxious about talking. They don't know if the person who sees them is going to accept them for who they are, whether they will be judgmental about them. Will they see the stammer or will they see the person behind them? So what I'm really passionate about, what any health professional will tell you, is inclusion. Be inclusive. Do not isolate a person who stammers or stutters. If a person stammers or stutters, you will find that it is going to affect their confidence level. It will affect their self-esteem. And in any case, we've all been through this, right? That it affects your self-esteem. It does affect how a person who stammers believes other people will see them, right? How they perform in public. For example, in the classroom, if a child or an adult at university, for example, stammers or stutters, they're going to be nervous about participating, taking part in class, and they're going to be nervous and anxious about trying to say something. They're going to be anxious about whether people will laugh at them, whether people will listen to them. So people will need your support, and it's our job. It is our job to be open, and it's our job to be supportive, and encourage people to be a part of your class, to be a part of your group of friends, to communicate in family. Because most of you have heard of this analogy that what you see is the tip of the iceberg, right? For a person who stammers or stutters, they go through a huge range of emotions. right through school life. You may have seen one of my shows on Islam channel, Sister Circle, where I was talking about people who have special needs, and how as a community we need to include them in and help them in their work careers, in their work lives, and employers need to be open to the fact that they may need extra support. So yes, so adults who stammer and who have disfluent speech, I just want to say to you guys are doing a great job. You're doing really well. Those of you who have sought help, and those of you who later on sought help, who didn't get help as soon as you needed it, help is always there, and you're very brave for seeking out help. And it's not, it's not. People will not look down on you. People will not disapprove of your speech. If you're attempting to communicate, to speak, you have a right to do so, and let people know that if you're confident enough and you have a speech difficulty, disfluent speech, and you're stammering, let people know. Give me the time to finish what I say. If you get stuck on words, what most people who stammer do is they circumdicate. Basically, they try and say a word. They try and go around the word so that they don't have to say the word they're stuck on. And articulation, right? There's so many factors which will affect your speech, how you articulate, how your articulators work together, putting the words together when you're structuring a sentence, getting it out. And when you get stuck or when you have a block, the core behaviors are the stutter itself, right? So what I said, the stutter, the core behaviors will be the blocks, the prolongations, and the repetitions. Secondary behaviors, when a person is trying to get a word out, or they're anxious and they're trying to say something and it's stuck. What are the things that because how you're feeling and you're trying to get a word out, you will often find that people clench their hands, right? They may tap on the table, right? Putting pressure or force out, blinking. You will find a lot of blinking trying to get out the word. There are also cases that I've witnessed that medication has an effect on how you speak. And at one time I've seen this case that the person who had taken a drug, I think it was for vertigo perhaps, I'm not sure, but basically the medicine, as well as trying to help their symptoms, it affected their speech. So talking on the phone was a big problem, right? You're going to talk on the phone. The person on the other side is speaking fluently, and you have to get your message across, express yourself, that what you need or what you want. And if you have a stammer coming, so what this person actually did was they told the person on the other on the other side that please listen to me and don't interrupt, because I have a speech difficulty, or a speech I stammer. So the person on the other side was very kind enough as to let the person finish what they're trying to say without interruption. Right? Don't finish the words for them. Don't finish the sentences for them. Give them the space and time to speak. So this person on the other side of the phone was very accommodating, and they listened to this person who was trying to get their message across. So little things like that, right? We have to be aware of little things like that. Answering the phone, getting your message across, right? They're huge. And for a person who is able to overcome their stutter, overcome in the sense that manage it, make their stutter easier, make their speech more fluent, right? It's kudos to them. It's well done to you guys who are making such an effort. And please don't push a person in the corner that if they have a speech difficulty, such as a stammer, a fluency disorder, don't tuck them in a corner. Encourage them to come out with it. Show that you understand that you're not going to close doors to them, because they have a right to have friends. They have a right to laugh and smile. They have a right to education. They have a right to work. So and it's not something which is like taboo. Okay, oh my God, they can't speak properly. No, a stammer, a stutter is something which you and I normally do as well. Normally developing speech, you have intrusions in your regular sentence. But when people have a stammer or a stutter, it also depends on the severity. That when people have a mild stammer, when it's severe, it's more noticeable, and you need speech therapy. You need help. Sometimes people have said that it hasn't worked for them. You must have heard of the singer Ed Sheeran. He's basically said that speech therapy didn't work for him. But for a lot of people, especially young kids, especially teenagers, if you have a stammer, speech therapists are important, because we can help you identify where you're having a breakdown in communication, and it helps manage and it helps raise awareness, as I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you about it. If you have any concerns and queries, please do ask. I've had a mother contact me, and she's asked me about her child who has a stammer, and it's pretty bad. And what I want to say to you is, give the child space to talk. Don't point it out that, oh my god, you're stammering, oh my god, you didn't say that well. Don't show the shock and horror. Give them their space. Go down to their eye level. If they're saying something, repeat the sentence after them so they hear it themselves. They're children. Okay, if they're stammering, stuttering, what external factors are putting pressure on them, identify that. And give them the airspace to talk. Don't talk over them. Don't let siblings talk for them. And don't fire complex sentences at them. That will make them need time to process the language, so that their receptive language is more complicated, and then don't expect complicated responses in return. Right? Take it easy. Life is not a competition, right? I do understand that you want your kids to do well. As adults, we want to do well. Life is not a competition. We all work together. We can all make things happen smoothly. Stammering and stuttering, hiklana, as people say in our community, and some people think it's funny that a person is not speaking clearly or well. Let's not do that. Let's accommodate. Let's help each other. Let's give each other the space and time. And let's think of the factors. Yes, it is a genetic thing. If your parents have stammered or stuttered, you may see that in their children. It is a genetic thing. There are other factors. There are external factors which can affect a stammer or stutter. What medications are you on? Because I've seen that I've seen that it affects people's speech. Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Zanera. You're very, very welcome. I did just touch on stuttering and kids, and I'm just really passionate about raising awareness and trying to help as much as I can, wherever I can. And what else did I want to say? So the factors that we are concerned about is the age of the onset, how severe the stammer or stutter is, what stresses are on the child which are making them stammer. Is the child aware of their speech? Is the child aware of their stammer? Because if they're aware of it and they're conscious about it, it's going to affect their self-esteem, right? So don't make it a point to point it out. But if you need to see a speech therapist, you're asking about the LITCOM program, very, very effective, I've heard. I am not LITCOM trained, but I would like to be. What else can I tell you about stammering and stuttering? So basically, the main thing is that as we speak, our articulators make rapid movements for the different letters that different sounds that we're meant to make. So there's a pressure of cognitive factors, right? You're trying to have your articulators move really fast. You are trying to sequence out your sounds and letters, and you are trying to maintain a rhythm of speech as you're flowing, as the speech flows. So for some people, right, and you may have other health concerns or other factors which will affect your communication, language delay, for example, right? Not saying kids are language delayed. But in children, I have seen that children stammer or stutter for a short period of time, and then their speech goes back to being fluent. Adults more so, we've had a huge awareness campaign going on in the UK, in London. I've seen colleagues and friends of mine who are raising awareness about stuttering, speaking about their personal experiences, and I'm very proud of them for doing that, because it's important that we talk about it. Other than that, send in your comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything else I could have said to contribute to this. And keeping this not too long, I will catch up with you guys soon. All right, take care. Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum. Bye, everyone.